But for,
We're late.
Got it. Yeah, we are.
are we okay here? I got a little note. Okay. Anyway, each year, if you know, at annual convention, we present the president with a check with the total number of hours, calculating those total hours and calculating all of the donations and volunteer, all the stuff that you do throughout the year. And we are going to beat last year. That's my goal. So I can't do that though, unless you provide me with the information. And people don't like the trimester report, that's fine. I've had some chapters that have just sent me after they've completed a project, they've just sent me that, and that's cool. But I'm hoping that maybe you'll like this little spreadsheet and maybe it will help you keep track. So I'm going to try to share my screen here. Hold control. Is that working? No. There. How about that? Okay. So can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So there are, along the bottom, there's 5 tabs. Program one. So this first tab talks about the 5 different programming areas, and I'm sure that you're all fairly familiar with these. What would be a community connection? What would be living and learning, women's wellness, youth of today, and priority. So this kind of just defines them and helps you know which area you're going to do your reporting in. The second tab talks about service hours. What is a service hour and how do you keep track? And I think the main thing here is a service hour is anything that has to do with your project. It's preparing for the project, setting up, it's taking down, it's that whole thing. And it's everyone that worked on the project. It's not just members. If your husband or if a friend or your children help, they all count as service hours. And then over in here in this, under here, this is Tevian had previously put together a link to online training. And if you watch her YouTube, we're not going to do that now, but you can go back and look at this YouTube. It walks you step by step through that trimester report, whether you like it or you don't. And then there's also a link here with the trimester, where to find the trimester report. So I've got resources on the first 2 tabs to try to help you accumulate your information for once you get to the actual spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on trimester 1. So it's kind of simple. I mean, they're all the same. I'll go to trimester 2 because we are in trimester 2. So I have it broken down here by community connections, and then the priority area, women's wellness, youth of today, and then living and learning. And just to comment on the living and learning section, for the most part, there really isn't any donations. So it's pretty much hours for a PEP course or, those types of things. So the living and learning is a little different. That's why I kind of threw it down there on the bottom. So for an example, if my chapter, as they've done some ways and means thing or some fundraising and stuff, but they haven't, done anything with the money. So we decided we're going to donate to Crescent Cove. So I'm going to say on September 15th, we're going to put donation, if I can spell, which I can't. These would all be blank because I'm just going to make a donation, and we're going to donate $200. Oh, I should say donation to Crescent Cove. That would probably be, or maybe Crescent Cove donation. So as I add more priority area or more donations or more things that I do for Crescent Cove, I can just add the dates, add the event or whatever it is. Maybe I'm going to help with the Christmas event that Connie's working on. So maybe I'm going to donate something. So then I would just add another one. And so it's going to accumulate your totals here for you as well. So it should make it easier you know, to keep track of each one separately. Another one.
Would the donation be a monetary donation or an in-kind donation? That's where I get confused.
Okay, so monetary in-kind is dollars and monetary is not dollars. So for example, let's try another one. Let's go to Youth It today. We did a bike, we're gonna do a bike safety. Okay, so we'll do a bike safety event. The number of members that helped with it was, we'll say 10, and there was 3 guests. Jeez, and I got crap coming up on my screen. And then I will just guess at 50 hours to organize, set up, blah, blah, blah. Then we had we had a company that donated 3 bicycles. So we're going to assume, I'll just guess that those 3 bicycles cost, I don't know, we'll say $300. And then the chapter purchased some prizes and some games and da da da. Those would actually be monetary as well for another $300, we'll say. And in this particular case, I'm not donating anything to anything, so I wouldn't have any there. And then under attended, I left it there. I put that there, but I don't know. That's kind of, I don't really care about who attended, but you could put the chapter members that were there. So maybe Sandy and Karen and, you know, whatever, whoever those 10 members are. You can use that, or we can even remove that as well.
Wouldn't it actually be the number of people that attended the event itself?
And maybe that would be better yet. So maybe we attended 500 people. Good idea, Amy. Thank you. So does that,
Charlie?
Yes.
Actually, if somebody donated 3 bikes to you,
Yeah.
that's an in-kind donation.
Isn't that a dollar amount?
Nope.
Yeah, I
It's an
thought
in-kind.
monetary was money and in-kind was.
Oh, so I got them
It's
backwards.
goods. Yep.
I got them backwards.
But you're
Sorry, I got them backwards.
No, for sure.
Okay, so I screwed up.
Monetary is money.
I got it mixed up. Okay. I thought it was right, but I wanted them in the columns opposite. I just typed them in screwed. Okay. All right. So do you think this is helpful, or what would you like to see it look different? And then I guess the other thing is I don't care if you send this to me versus doing that trimester report. I'd rather have something than nothing.
Where do we find this form?
I'm going through it with you today, and then I'll email it out tomorrow with some updates and things based on feedback. That was my plan.
So going back to the Crescent Cove donation, that 200 would actually go under monetary.
Yeah, I screwed up.
Unless we purchased product for the Crescent Cove event, then would that go under the in-kind donation?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so like with the back to school, you know, if we donated 500 boxes of crayons, we would put the monetary amount for that under the in-kind donation?
Sure. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep. Does that help?
Yep.
I typed it. I'm gonna actually switch those 2 columns around because I had intended to put the in-kind first, and then I just thought it was easier that way. The in-kind first and then the dollars second. And so I did it the opposite way, and now I got it all screwed up, but yeah.
Shirley, this is Shelley. Is there a spot in here to write your name or chapter name?
Yeah,
so
we can do.
The form is from.
Yep, I can do that too. Yeah, I was going to do that before I sent it off. Yep, we'll just add one up here. You know, we can add at the top, put chapter name. Yep. Yep.
I thought in kind would mean something to the effect of something being done for us that we would not have to pay for. That's what I thought in kind was.
Devian, are you on here? Help.
It's usually a goods or services, not actual money. So like if you're a goods might be, like you said, the color crayons.
Yep.
or a service, even donating your time, and you factor in how much time is allotted and what you're, like where the service hours is, like what, if you're looking at that check number when we're doing at the end of the year, how many service hours we did, that would be in kind.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
For instance, when we bagged desserts up, 200 of them for our community meal. And so we just kind of put a price on, you know, how much a dozen cookies would be or a dozen cupcakes would be.
Yep.
And
Right.
that would be in kind donation.
Yeah.
And then the time it took for us to make those products would be your service hours.
We're
Right.
service hours. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So
Yep.
if you get in kind donated to you, but you give it out, is that a zero because it's coming in and going out? Is that a zero, or do I just put the amount we got?
I think you need to account it both ways.
So one of the things that we've talked about is it's gotten to be too or people are so confused. I learned this at my Zoom earlier in what's coming in and what's going out. So we are going to stick to what's going out. So if somebody gives you those 3 bicycles, you're going to give that right out. So we're going to put it right directly into in kind.
Mhm.
Do I have it right now? Yeah, we're just gonna, we don't care what comes in and what goes out. We care what goes out. We care what you're doing, what you're giving out to people. And we're gonna talk about that at planning meeting, actually. But it's one of the things I've been talking about with, you know, with some of the past programming people and some of the, it's so confusing because people get confused about, so somebody donates a bicycle and then I give the bicycle away. So do I put it in? Do I put it out? We just want what's going out.
Shirley, this is
Yes.
Denise. I think the only time it makes sense to keep track of what comes in and goes out is if you collect money, but you don't give it out till the next trimester. But,
Okay.
you know, just keep track of it and give it out. It makes it less confusing.
This is all good questions and good comments. Is there anything that you would like to see different on this spreadsheet?
Do you
I think
adding-
sometimes,
Oh, go ahead.
thank you. This is Kathy from Fridley. I think sometimes it might be nice to have a comment column just in case I want to clarify something.
Yep.
That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, that's great. Yep, that's what we're looking for. We just want to make it as user friendly, and I don't know how, this is in Excel. I don't know if everybody's familiar with Excel, but you can add and delete columns or, you know, mess with, you know, update it or make it easier for you if, you know, you want to, or add other information on there. I was just trying to come up,
Well,
help.
Leslie, I was just gonna say, Leslie from Aiken, we had leftover t-shirts from an event that was held like 10, 15 years ago. And we donated them to our local DAV, but we wanted to put an amount on it. Boy, it's easy to Google. I mean, you could even Google baked goods if you want. And all I Googled was, what is the average cost of a t-shirt? And then that's the dollar amount I put on it. If you put the average cost of a dozen cookies, if you're just unsure of that, just Google it and ask that question and you'll find all kinds of answers that way.
Do you think it helps to change these headings? So these are dollar donations and then in kind?
Well, in kind, it says, like, I just Googled that and it says donations of goods, services, or time instead of cash. That's what in kind means.
Okay, so maybe we should call it something else because we want the hours to be separate.
Right, but you could just say goods and services, or goods and services, and the time would be under service hours.
Or even
leave
just
that.
non-cash donations.
Yeah, non-cash.
Oh, that's better too.
Yeah,
Does everybody like that?
yeah.
Does that make more sense?
This is Tevian. I kind of think of in kind as anything you can't deposit into a bank account. So like you can deposit or you can use in a bank account, like you can use a Visa gift card. So if you gave away a Visa gift card, that's almost like giving away cash. But a Target gift card can only be exchanged at Target. You know, so that is considered in kind. Does that make sense?
I guess to me, it doesn't
No.
actually matter where it is as long as it's there somewhere.
But
But-
it's, yeah, but it
Um,
kind of, I mean, we do care, so.
Tavian,
Yeah.
this is Kat Schumann. Gift cards, I don't, just talking from a bookkeeping background, that would go under the non-cash because they're not spent yet. There's not real money unless it's used. That's just a bookkeeping thing. But I mean, if you guys want to do it different, you can, but just a suggestion to separate it. So.
I think we were also considering truly, when someone gave us,
Okay, go ahead. Just
you know,
that-
they were giving us something like a Visa gift card as a way to give us cash because so many people don't have checks anymore.
Oh, you know, an example of that too would be like Thrivent. Thrivent gives you $250 or a gift card. I know we've done that in our chapter. I think Deb can speak to that. But and then we go out and we use that. So I wasn't looking
Something
at
to
that.
think about, yeah, but just
We
making
have a
sure that
completely
you're thinking
different
about-
example here too.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so I've worked on a couple of events outside of Jules Women of Today, and we know a gentleman who owns a rental company. So we have asked him, you know, would you donate the tables and the tent? And so that's an in-kind donation in that way, but it's an in-kind service.
It
to
doesn't
us.
matter, it has a value.
That's true, and we can get that from him when he does that,
Yep.
but
Yep,
Okay.
you just need the value. So pretty much, I mean, like Kat was saying, I mean, anything that isn't monetary, isn't just the immediate cash or check or a Venmo payment or a PayPal payment, anything you wouldn't deposit, then it would go in that in kind. But like Leslie was saying, I mean, everything has a value. Whether you think it does or not, you can always look up what it would cost to replace it, cost to buy it yourself, cost to rent it yourself.
So do you all think that we should keep these headings the same or should we change them?
My only
Yeah.
concern with changing them is surely is the confusion between, because isn't this, I'm sorry, I joined late.
It's okay.
Isn't the intention of this to be a worksheet that chapters then use to go fill out the actual report?
Yes, or I'm okay with them sending me this actually.
Okay, but you're the PVP this year,
Right, I know,
and you
But-
won't always be the PVP.
Yep. right.
So
And
we
I get
can't
that
talk
too.
for what future PVPs might be willing to do. So
So
as
maybe-
long as,
Shirley, can I put in a suggestion?
Sure, go ahead,
When we're
Mary.
going on these monetary and in kind,
Yep,
when I do our report for our chapter, I look at it, if it's monetary, that means money was spent by the chapter. But if somebody gives us that gift card, whether it be a member or anybody else, that goes in kind, but the monetary is what actual money is taken directly out of the chapter's funds.
okay, and what was your definition of in kind? Tell me that again.
In kind was anything where somebody donates it to you. So if they
But
donate a
these are-
gift card to you,
but remember, these are donations out, Mary, not donations in.
right, but that's what I'm saying. A monetary donation out is when the chapter spends money out of their account.
But you might give an in-kind donation out as a chapter. You
We do
might,
that
as
too.
a chapter, buy something.
Right, we do it both ways.
I think it doesn't matter. However you want to do it as a chapter, make a definition and be consistent
Yep.
as a chapter. I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
want people to get confused.
Right. I'm just saying,
By
any money
throwing
we
out
spend
and
directly from the
continuing.
chapter is a monetary donation.
Okay, but that's your definition and
That's
that's
our
New Hope's definition. That's not necessarily the general definition. And every chapter needs to pick one and be consistent with their definition and how they're going to record keep.
So if we
Okay,
get money from a business for a project, I would put that in dollar donations. Because
I have a question for clarification. If we do a craft show, we're receiving money from the craft show to give back to the community. We then take from the proceeds and purchase gifts for needy families. So now we're moving money out. So is that then considered non-cash donation? I mean, we're using the chapter dollars to purchase these gifts that were raised from a fundraiser.
Tad Schumann here. I think, Jill, I think you're talking of two different projects. Your first project is your craft show. What did you do for the
Correct.
craft show and what did you end up with for money? When you go on to distribute the money and you go buy presents, you're doing a different project. I think that's the way you
Okay.
want to divide it up.
Okay. All right, so then it's non-cash donations, even though it's coming from the chapter to pay for the gifts?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean, at the end of the
Thank you.
day, to the point, I mean, dollars are dollars, right? I mean, they'll all get added up. It is interesting to look at it from a long-term perspective. We would like to be able to look at our chapters giving out cash, or are they giving out other items? Whether they're going out
Thank
and
you.
buying them or not, that doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pat here, I know our chapter, a couple times a year, Monticello will do a group of donations where we write checks out and send them out. And what we've been doing on our reports is we just put like donations, and so that's like a project by itself. We actually make a list, we bring it to the chapter, we vote on it. So we just put donated out or something like that and put it that way.
And to that point, don't forget to have your districts file this same report if your districts do donations like that.
Mhm.
So is everybody confused now or See, I think that's the most confusing part that I've heard from everybody, other than that we have to report, is this dollar non-cash thing.
I don't think, I mean, at the end of the day, no one's gonna know whether it was, I mean, it's not a check. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure you get the value correct. So, you know what, if you put it in the cash column, whatever, right? If you put it in the non-cash column, this is not an IRS thing. It's not a bookkeeping thing. No one's gonna come back and penalize you. The end result is we want to know the value of it. So, it's meant to be interesting and to be able to report and see trends and to see what our chapters are doing. But the most important part of it is to get the value of what your chapter is contributing out. So if this is so confusing and you don't think you'll ever be able to do it, then pick one place and put the value in there.
And the service hours piece is really easy to keep track of, and that counts for a lot of money as well.
It does.
So even if you get confused, like Tevian said, in some of the cash and non-cash, go with your service hours for sure, because I feel we're very under represented with how many hours people put in.
I mean, worst case scenario, put everything in, count all your service hours and count all your dollar donation. Just put everything in dollar donations and we'll move on.
Yeah.
We'd rather have those numbers than you not report anything at all.
Yep.
Exactly. And I was pretty excited because in try one, we actually had 54% of the chapters that gave me something, which was pretty good.
Shirley,
So-
can I come back around to the question I was asking earlier about, I mean, right now, the intention until we change something in the future. For now,
Correct.
the intention is this would be a worksheet
A worksheet.
available for all the chapters to use. And they can, it's an Excel spreadsheet. If that didn't work for you, you could always import it into a Google sheet or whatever.
Yep.
Right. And it would be, you could change it up. You could do whatever you want with it to make it work for your chapter. And then the intention is you would use the totals on this to fill in the actual programming report, correct?
Correct. And the other part of it is it also gives you, I mean, it shows all of your projects. So when you're also completing the project of the trimester, it should, help you with that. So you don't forget some, yeah. I was trying to come up with some kind of a tool to be helpful.
Well, for a lot of you that have been around, this probably looks very familiar. This is the way our programming LPM reports used to look in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of that detail was getting lost, and we needed to come back around to a way to capture that detail, for the chapters to capture that detail. So probably looks really similar. Or, since we don't have transmittals anymore that we used to have to keep track of these things, here's a spreadsheet you can use, or now that you've seen this, make up your own, whatever it is.
Yep, that too.
In our chapter, we use a Google spreadsheet. We have every chapter member's name, and we keep a column for every project, and we just mark service hour, monetary donation, in-kind donation by project, by chapter member.
Gave you that file, huh?
And we use that to track,
Do
how many projects did they participate in for the
That's what
trimester, to note, who do we want to nominate for
across.
member of the month or things like that.
I was doing this.
Well,
just
ladies,
wanted to
this has
say-
been a great discussion, and we're going to have to call this session to a close so we can move on to the next one and keep on schedule.
I just wanted to say, Shirley, you did a great job.
Yes, thank you
That
very
was a lot
much.
of- Yeah.
I'll send this out to the chapters, and then like Tevian said, do with it what you want. Just trying to help everybody because I get it. So
Thank you, Shirley.
thanks. And thanks for all your comments. And if there's anything else that you want to comment on or that you'd like to have me update or change before I send it out, just send me a note, pbp@mnwt.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll move right on to the next session, how to keep the excitement going. And we're going to have Glory, our extensions director, and Shelley, our membership VP, leading that session. So just in case we missed you, if you could sign in again in the chat, give your name and your chapter so we can keep track of who's here.
And we need Shirley to stop sharing her screen.
I know I'm trying to figure that out. Oh, right there. I got it. Okay, I got it. Sorry.
Thank you, Shirley. It's okay. I'm like, I know it's there somewhere.
Yeah, I knew it was.
We have to re-sign in?
No.
So from Avon.
I know, I think we're good. I'm kind of keeping track of who's here. So who
Okay.
is on the phone? 612-501-4995.
Oh, you got the pizza?
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay. Well,
That's all right.
Shelley, go
Okay.
ahead and take it off, and if everybody can mute.
Hey, I love pizza too.
It's the cauliflower crust
Okay, can
pizza.
everybody see?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start from the beginning. So come on. There we go. Yay, we're gonna keep the excitement going here. So Glory and I talked over the weekend, and this is what we've come up with. This is not like by any means you have to do any of this. It's just some ideas that we had and came up with. So we thought the first thing you have to do is you have to we're just providing you with a quick guide to give you an idea of what you can do as a chapter to achieve and maintain your chapter vitality. Our organization continues to exist due to those close and supportive relationships. So when you use the tools in this guide, you strengthen your Minnesota Women of Today chapter as well as for the entire organization. If you have any questions or if you feel your chapter needs individual help with recruitment or membership, please contact the membership VP, which is me at mvp@mnwt.org. And I apologize if you hear a little yip, it's my dog and she wants my attention. So she's fine. She's not dying or anything like that. So Glory, you have anything to add or we'll go on to the next slide?
Go right ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So to grow as a chapter, the way to continue to grow as a chapter is to always look at reinvesting in your membership. We'll go on to this later with some more steps, but you just need to look at your membership and look at ways, or look at your chapter and look at ways that you can invest in making your membership be excited about coming to a meeting and doing, participating. Then you need to always look at reinventing your chapter. So your chapter today probably looks completely different than your chapter, say, 10 years ago. So you've reinvented your chapter already from 10 years ago. So you just have to keep looking forward and looking for new ways to invigorate your chapter. Then we always have, look at re-engaging your members. What can you do to get them involved? And then the last one is, and you always keep asking, what's next? So even if you get to a certain point, you need to keep going and go, hey, what's next? What do we need to do as a chapter to stay viable? So what does reinvesting mean? Investing in your chapter will benefit all members. You don't have to have lavish events, and most of the ideas that we have listed won't cost you much to start. But more importantly, they will make a difference in the lives of your members, and that will create loyalty to our organization. So this is one, it's in the next one is yours, Gloria. Host social or team building activities that will help your members bond with one another. Give all members the opportunity to play a part in planning out the chapter calendar. And that kind of goes to success. Create a monthly recognition achievement award. And it could be something like, we got up a couple, the duct tape award, which is the person who fixes everything. How about the Pearly White Award? That's the person who smiles the most. Or the Sunny Disposition Award, the person who is always optimistic. And how about the Cliff Jumper Award for the person who takes the most risks? These are something that's simple and easy, but it means a lot. And then the last one is always to celebrate the anniversary of their membership. So when you're doing your trimester renewals, look and see who's up. And then, again, tell them, hey, thanks so much for being a member. I see you've been a member for 10 years or whatever. But just that little acknowledgement can go a long way. So reinventing in your chapter. When, is Mary, are you raising your hand or is that from before?
Are you waiting for me, Shelley? You kind of,
Nope.
I didn't.
Mary has her hand raised, so I didn't know if it was from before. All right, so we'll just keep going. So when members feel stagnant or heading towards the same old, they'll start to look for other opportunities. And that's what we want to avoid. So investing in developing a chapter's growth strategy, which we all do our own growth plan, but that's really numbers. What we're talking about now is an idea to try something called CDP, Chapter Development Plan, which goes hand in hand with a success tool. So the CDPs empower your members to ask themselves, where is our chapter now? Where do we want to be? And how will we get there? Be sure to set up a schedule to review the CDP and adjust as needed. So now, how can you re-engage your members? Listen to what they're telling you. They might have an idea, maybe they're timid and don't want to say anything during a meeting, but listen to what they're telling you. Learn what their aspirations are. So maybe they want to be an SPM. So how can you go about getting them to that level? What can we do as a chapter to help them get there? Set goals together as individuals and as a chapter. In our chapter, we have a couple individuals who want to learn, excuse me, to get comfortable talking in front of a group. And so our chapter is looking into maybe coming up with a short little program where people can maybe write something, and we haven't really thought about it yet, some topics, and then once they're ready, they can then give a presentation to the chapter. So that's a safe zone for them to do that, but it's giving them the practice and the encouragement and all that they need to then hopefully conquer this fear of talking in front of people. Root for them. Let your members know you're in their corner. I mean, let them know that you are excited that maybe they're taking a class at one of the junior colleges around, or maybe they're taking a true craft. But just let them know. Say, hey, I know it's not related to our chapter, but I'm here for you, and I think it's great that you're doing this. Create a culture that makes every member feel welcome. And I know we've always say that a lot, but it's very true. If you go into a meeting and everyone's just talking around and they don't engage with someone who's kind of off to the side, make the effort to go over there and talk to them, okay? And then say thank you for being a member. You can't say thank you enough. Whether you say it to them when you see them, or just sending them a note that just says, I'm so glad you're a member, and I'm glad you came to the meeting, or something. Just something to acknowledge that their being a member is important to your chapter. So this is the one that Glory, your chapter did this project. So do you want to go on about this one?
So when I was in membership, we got some money from the state for doing something. And so we decided to give it to the members, and how are we going to do that? And so we also had gotten a lot of new members that year, and we wanted to have everybody get to know each other. So how we did that is we asked the members to come up with socials that we could have fun doing, and also get to know each other. So every time a person came up with a social, they got there and planned it, organized it, and did a final report. They got their name in a basket 5 times. And then if a member went to that event, they would get their name in there once. And then at the end of the trimester, we gave them this prize. And the members could plan as many socials as they would like. And actually there was a couple of members that planned several of them, like almost 5 each. And so we did have a lot of fun that trimester doing all these things. And also we encouraged encourage them to include a new chapter member to help with the event, so that they would feel, get used to chairing the project and feel included in it. And like it says, we only did it for 1 trimester, and we did a lot of fun things. And we just asked that the person that wanted to host the event would check in with the chapter membership team so that we didn't plan 2 socials on one night or do something that was going to interfere with something else we were doing. And people really liked it, and we had a lot of fun, and I think it was worth doing.
Okay, and then Glory too, we talked about that the goal of these is to have fun and fellowship. If you get a member, hey, great, but this was just to focus on the chapter and having fun and just being together.
Right.
So now other ways to encourage excitement, and we talked about, Gloria and I talked about this as well, is that at a regular chapter meeting, consider having an activity, a program, or a game. Now you don't have to schedule something for every meeting. But here are some fun things that you can do at a meeting that don't take a lot of time. So some of them are kind of silly. So first one, take a picture of the back of your head. Have you tried to do that? I tried, and it's really hard. Walk backwards to the nearest bathroom. So every time someone has to go to the restroom, they have to walk backwards. Maybe Google your daily horoscope and read it out loud. One arm up and one arm behind, and try to touch your fingertips behind your back. Quickly, touch 3 objects of 3 different colors. Take a selfie while you're doing a downward facing dog pose. Draw a picture of yourself in 15 seconds and share. Come up with 5 alternative uses for a spoon. Describe your favorite food without saying its name. Play a trivia game about Minnesota Women of Today and throw out plastic, necklaces to the members with the right answer. And whoever has the most necklaces will win a small gift. Write a positive review about something you liked recently. Maybe it was a book, a podcast, product, or maybe a restaurant, and then share it. Make a music list and share it. Because right now, I can imagine a lot of people are like, yeah, I usually listen to, rock or everyday pop, but maybe at Halloween time, they go to Monster Mash and some of those other Ghostbuster songs. List 10 things that are awesome about your chapter and share. I think the last one would provide some great conversation at a meeting. And here's what a downward facing dog yoga pose is for those of you who are wondering what it was. So just wanted to make sure everyone had all the information. We want to thank you for taking time to attend the webinar. Does anyone have any questions, suggestions, or things that maybe they did that they want to share? Good, we made up some time.
Well, I was just gonna say, while you guys were thinking of things, it's important to have fun at your chapter meetings because it keeps members engaged. It keeps people wanting to come back. And I Googled that last year when I was district director, why would we want to have fun at a meeting? And if you do that, there's a bunch of different articles on it, on how it makes, it was employees, but how it makes your members feel and why they would want to come back. So just wanted to add that too.
Okay, so I think Anya's someone. Anya, are you going to post it to the website, or are we better off sending the PowerPoint to all the chapters and via email?
I'll post it to the website. I'll get it into Dropbox tonight, so then it'll be up there shortly.
Okay. So, thank you to everyone. Hopefully we gave you some things to think about, and you can think outside of the box. Gloria, you want to put in a pitch for your event coming up?
Oh yeah. that would be fun. We're going to go to Thor's in Stillwater. And it's at the Apple Orchard, and we're going to be there on November 5th from 2 to 5. There's going to be music there. It's just going to be a social. Jen Auger says she has at least 10 people that would like to come that are not members. So if you want to come help welcome them. And we have some things to give out if you come, and it's just for fun. So come out and try their hard cider or whatever you'd like to try, and let's get to know each other. So I think we're all set. We're all done.
Yep.
I have a comment for Shirley.
Good.
I've had a chance to think about your form that you put together, and I think it's great. I would like to recommend that instead of the word attendees, maybe change that word to chairperson or people, because when we're doing reporting, I think that that's going to help when we do up our award write-ups and stuff. If we have the name of the chairperson, if there was one for that project, to help us be able to do the awards and things like that.
Sure.
But just a suggestion.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. Is Connie Fink on? It's her birthday today.
I am here.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Connie.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Connie.
Happy birthday, Connie.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Connie.
To you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
dear
Connie.
Connie. Happy birthday to you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Shirley, Glory, your audio was kind of breaking up, so Mercedes, I think some of us weren't getting all the details for Thor's. So maybe you could post that on Facebook for people.
It is on there is an event on the membership Facebook page.
Oh, it's on there too.
But-
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
good.
yes, I'll send it out to the chapter emails too.
Okay, very good. Thank you. What do we want, a 5-minute break, or do we want to just dive in and? I mean, if somebody was coming on at 7, they might miss some of it if we start early.
Let's take a break and then I'll just stop the recording.
Okay, okay. So
Typing away.
well, Mercedes from the Monticello chapter has graciously accepted the invitation to share some insights on critical conversations and positive communication so we can avoid conflict. So I'll let you take it away, Mercedes.
All right, so I should share my screen, right? Screen 1.
Yep.
Let me see. Can you see it? Did I do it?
Yes.
All right. I started to do this at work, but now in my living room, I'm befuddled. Okay. So let me know if you can see the screen. I'm going to just give you a very high level overview. So I am currently a global HR business partner for an organization, but prior to that, I spent about 15 years as a corporate trainer. I started when I was 10 years old, and then they recruited me from elementary school. I still use this content. I use it at work almost weekly. I've used it with family. I use it with friends. It's one of these things that I call a home run course where you can take it. It's very complicated, but it's easy and you can apply it in all different walks of life. It does come from a book called Crucial Conversations, which is a fantastic and easy read. and you can do it on audio. So I have taken something that's typically a 2-day course and really compiled it down to what I call the juicy pieces of it, and when people walk away with after 8 hours of being a talking head and standing up there talking at individuals. So it's crucial conversations. If I ask all of you to think about what makes a conversation crucial, we probably have them all the time and don't realize that we're walking into a crucial conversation. So there's a secret sauce to it, what makes something crucial. Something has strong emotions, there's opposing opinions, and the stakes are high. So if I bring it to what we do as an organization, we all love to volunteer. We love to help others. That's why we're here. That's why we join this organization. That's why we pay our dues. We paid for our friends, but we also want to give back to the community. Our emotions are naturally strong. The stakes are high because we're doing a lot of really good work. Sometimes we're lean on, people power. Sometimes we're lean on budgets or funds, or we have things like the last few years with COVID that we can't control, and we still want to help people. And we are all blessed to have very strong members in all of our chapters, and that comes in with different opinions. Doesn't mean one person is right and one person is wrong, but the opinions are here regardless. So a lot of times this might happen if you're in a committee meeting, a project meeting, we wind up in a crucial conversation. Oh, there's my dog, hello, without even knowing that we're in a crucial conversation. So some examples, I brought it down to what we do in our organization, but think about how this applies to other situations. Ending a relationship, whether it's a friend relationship, a relationship with a vendor or contractor. If you borrowed money to a friend and then now you want that money back, giving feedback to a colleague at work. I mean, that's very crucial. Or even like within our chapter, like giving information, like feedback on someone and how they are doing something or not doing something. So all kind of the secret sauce that then you wind up in a crucial conversation without realizing it. I'm going to hold him because he might fall. He's a very sleepy puppy. Sorry, it's his bedtime. So why do we need to hold these conversations? If you don't hold them, they're going to come out in a behavior. So they're going to happen regardless, whether you intentionally set yourself up to have the crucial conversation or whether you ignore it, it's going to come out. So the people behind this research, over 20 years, they've been conducting studies where they have observed people, and they conduct a study every year. They look at 100 people and they follow them around, and they will just let these crucial conversations happen without navigating or going in to save the day. And what they have found is consistently, the conversation will happen, and it's how you address it, whether you come out with a good resolution or not a good resolution. So having the conversation, knowing when you're walking into one, is what is the secret formula for being an effective team player, an effective leader, effective parents, effective members of our community. If we think of like Women of Today, we are a community, we are a team, and we're all leaders. But you need to know how to navigate the crucial conversations. So there is a kind of a path in how to follow it and set yourself up for success to have the conversations. So if you think about how do you typically handle it, everyone's got their own comfort way of how you're going to handle one of these crucial conversations. We got to tell the truth, whether we want to admit it or not. Sometimes when we are backed into a corner or things get difficult, there's a tendency to not put forward all of the information that others need, because we don't want to maybe be embarrassed because we forgot something or be called on the carpet. Most of the time, there is the temptation to follow what we call the fool's choice on a path. And that is where we think that we're being nice, and we just don't want to say what we should say honestly, but in a respectful way. So the key words there are respectful and honest, because we think that we're not nice if we give someone that honest and respectful feedback. So a lot of times people are torn, and then you're thinking, okay, if I share something now, I'm gonna hurt the relationship. I'm going to blow this up. I don't want to speak up. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to keep it silent. I'm not going to say anything. And then that's where we're not expressing what we need to, and it gets repressed. Eventually it's going to come out, and it comes out in behaviors. And I love this quote by Martin Luther King: "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." So you have to invest, and how you invest is a respectful and honest way of sharing that feedback if it's to help others. So this is when we talk about a concept, and this is one of those things that after a 2-day workshop, people walk away with. If you visualize a pool, what do we need in a pool? Anyone? What do you need in a swimming pool?
Water.
You need water, or else you're just going to keep falling in. You're going to hurt yourself. There's cement, there's liner, there's rocks. It's uncomfortable. So the pool of shared meaning is making sure that when you're in these conversations, stakes are high, there's opposing point of views, people get emotional because we're all human beings, is that there is dialogue. And that means you're filling in the pool. It's not just one person's hose, everybody's filling in the pool of shared meaning. It is a dialogue, involves more than one person. It's 2 or more people. And when emotions are high, people tend to get louder or more vocal or silent. They disappear. Everyone reacts differently. You're not putting anything into the pool. The pool is drying up. Regardless, and I think like the screen might be over, but I can share these slides. Everyone's going to walk into a conversation with their own opinion. Everyone thinks they're right. We are always the experts. We're right. Everybody else is wrong. The pool of shared meaning goes in with the assumption that we are all going to fill up this pool together, and we're all going to learn how to swim in here together. It is a mutual conversation. Some people might doggy paddle. Some people might do the breaststroke. Doesn't matter. We're going to allow them to do it their way, but we're going to help each other out by making sure that there's enough water or information and space for safe dialogue. So if you do this, you create what we call a safe space for individuals. And this is key to help people feel respected and safe to have a conversation. And instead of making the fool's choice, avoiding the interaction, we're going to make a better choice and follow a path. So just some quotes here in terms of why it's important. If as individuals, we get more accurate, more relevant information, we're all going to make a better choice. A lot of times we learn things. If you think about your own life, there might be people that come to you that for whatever reason, you have some interactions with them and you always walk away with, oh, that didn't go as intended. Sometimes they have really valuable information and you learn a lot from them, but it's not a dialogue, it's an interaction. With Crucial Conversations, the intent is to have a dialogue, a respectful and mutually respectful dialogue versus a one-way interaction of information. So this is another quote. If you speak when you're angry, you're going to make the best speech that you're going to regret. If you think about what you've said sometimes in anger, maybe an hour later or the next day, and I've done it too, like, why did I say that? I can't believe I said that. I should have said this. The Crucial Conversations path, and we'll go over some key steps, helps you to kind of reframe your thought, state your path, so you don't wind up regretting it, but instead you're moving forward and you're getting unstuck from that crucial conversation. So starting with the heart this is the key to it, how to stay focused on what you really want. This doesn't mean that you're selfish. This means, what is it that you want? Why is this conversation so important? Why is it so critical? Why are the emotions so high? Do you want a successful concession stand? Do you want a successful new project? Do you want a successful family vacation with a lot of opposing meetings and whatever it is for you? Stay focused on what you really want and what it is that you really want. So part of this is we are all the best storytellers in the world. This is so unique. Everyone is typically, everyone has their own perspective of when they see something. So when you are thinking about it, it's good to tell ourselves a story and how you frame yourself in that. And this helps you to stay focused on what you want. Sometimes we're the star of the story. Sometimes we're like a side character, or we're focusing on somebody else's story. And ask yourself some crucial questions. So one thing is to recognize what it is that you want. And the other is, how are you acting? And there are times that I've done this myself. You might be acting that you're angry. You might be acting as if it's only your opinion that matters, that it's your way or the highway. But really, that's not what you want. What you might want is to have people to compromise. What you might want is for people to work together. What you might want is to engage others, to build excitement for a relationship to move forward. And you're behaving in a different way. So a good way to reframe it is, how would I really be behaving if I really did want this? It might be to invite others into the conversation. It might be to welcome a different perspective. So kind of like checking ourselves and making sure that what we want and how we're acting is aligned. And if you've ever seen people who are very famous public speakers, when they get asked a question and they start stumbling or fumbling and getting upset, there's a moment where they pause and then they kind of go back and say, you know, I didn't really mean to say that. What I meant to say is this. They are reframing that and recognizing that perhaps they were acting a different way than what they wanted. This is called contrasting. And it's also following a different path, which is refusing the fool's choice. So I talked about this a little bit. I want to make sure that I don't go over on time. So you can choose between two alternatives. You can speak up and hurt the relationships or the feelings, or you can keep silent and never express the issue where it needs to be expressed. Either way, it's not a good path. What you want to do is ask yourself those crucial questions of, what do I not want? For us, we're all here, we want to volunteer. We don't want this wonderful organization or our wonderful friendships with our chapter members to deteriorate. And that would be a motivator for me. Everyone's got their own. How do you go about getting what I really want and avoiding what I don't? Is making sure that you're clear on what you want. Do you want harmony? Do you want collaboration? Do you want engagement? And then acting in that way and stating what it is that you want. So this is where you kind of become a detective, and you might be having a conversation and you're observing, am I in a crucial conversation? Am I not? Or is someone, or am I making the fool's choice? And there are some cues to watch for. It's kind of like in a movie when you see, someone walking into like a scary room and you're like, oh no, they're walking into a scary room. There's a moment in time where we all walk into a crucial conversation. And this goes from routine to crucial. Emotions get higher. Some people might appear to be scared, and it's not that they're scared like something's going to happen, but you could see it in people's reactions. Eyes get bigger. People's feelings get hurt. They might say it. Some people might get angry. Or you might see, behavioral things. People might raise their voice. Everyone's body language is different. Someone who's normally very vocal will become quiet. People will also what's called, fight or flight. Someone might hide physically behind their paper. There's avoidance of eye contact, or total silence and avoiding of the situation. And I think I'm going to see if I can move this. There we go. So if you recognize that you are falling into one of these, like we all know ourselves, if you are a person who starts to disengage mentally or physically, where you just start backing away, and you're recognizing I'm about to flight away from this crucial conversation, bring yourself back into it. If this is something worth investing, if you want to preserve this, then bring yourself back and focus on, how do you create the safety and if you're going towards silence or violence, because you want to create that safe environment for conversations. So I talked a little bit about silence, what it looks like. Other things in terms of silence, people might be more sarcastic than normal. They might even avoid answering a question. They'll totally withdraw from the conversation. And then in terms of violence, this is more, think about someone want to dominate the conversation, will be nitpicky, will, label. We might hear people, the phrase, throw others under the bus, but this is human nature where some people fight or flight. It doesn't mean we're physically going to fight, but we shouldn't be doing that. We're a wonderful volunteer organization, but it's a natural response. And it's very similar, if you read the book, to what your behavior was as a 9-year-old child. So if you were a child that ran to your room, or if you were a child that faced head on, then your adult self is going to follow the same. So if you're recognizing this in yourself, then also recognize it in others and notice how others are starting to behave. Are they going to silence or violence now that you've entered a crucial conversation? And then it's a way for you to recognize what your style is under stress. You don't have to answer this out loud, but think about for yourself, your beautiful 9-year-old self. How did you react if you were not getting your way? Did you go silent or did you go to violence? And how you got past this and how we help others to get past this is we create a safe environment to make it safe to talk about almost anything. And I do this pretty regularly all the time. My job is having uncomfortable conversations. People love it when I come down the hallway to talk to them at work. But it's a safe place and it's a welcoming place for different perspectives. They're typically emotional conversations and the stakes are high. And this is one of the other formulas I mentioned. There's 2 conditions for safety. One is mutual purpose. And this is kind of like the invitation to come in, the entrance condition. Even if you don't know someone very well, or even if you don't have a strong yet friendship or trust, you can start setting up mutual purpose and simply you let others know. For us in our organization, our mutual purpose is we are all part of this organization because we want to give back to our communities and we want to help others. So at the end of the day, if you're having a different opinion with a fellow member, if you're finding that you're not getting along or you're trying to work on something and it's not going well, you can call a timeout and take it back and say, you know what, we are all here for a mutual purpose. I want to give back to community. You do as well. We can work with that and we can move forward. It's kind of as simple as that. You're resetting the tone. And from there, you move to mutual respect. And this is kind of the next phase of the relationship where you state it. I might not agree with what you're saying. I don't agree with your approach, but I respect you and I expect the same. So you're kind of moving along and you're contracting to make sure that it's safe for other opinions, it's safe for different approaches, and you both have a mutual purpose and a mutual respect for what you're doing. And you don't have to have a mutual respect for the other person at this point. Hopefully you'll get there, but you do have a mutual respect for what you're doing and to continue forward. So questions you can ask, and this is asking yourself and then stating it. And think about how you're behaving. Are you behaving like you respect the other individuals? Are you behaving like you truly are creating that safe environment? And if you are behaving that way, then you can move forward with mutual respect and mutual purpose. And if things got unsafe and people didn't feel comfortable in a conversation, this is something that goes a long way. We've probably heard this before. Apologize when it's appropriate. This does restore safety. And if that was not your intent, clearly let the other party know, my intent was not to hurt your feelings. My intent was to share with you my perspective on your behavior in the situation or how I perceived your involvement or your commitment. And that also leads you to contrasting, which I talked about earlier. This goes a long way in fixing a misunderstanding. So sometimes when emotions are high, there's a lot of feelings, it's very easy to misunderstand others or your purpose or your respect. Simply stating it. So if you're picking up what I'm saying, the key to a crucial conversation is taking that moment and clearly stating what your purpose is, what you want to do, how you're feeling, and welcoming the other person into the conversation. So with contrasting, it's stating, and I'll give you an example. Say you're having a conversation, you're trying to plan something for a project, and things just go haywire, there's money involved, this type situation involved, saying, I did not mean to insult you or question your judgment. My intent with this conversation was to get clarity on what your role is and what you're doing with this project, because I am unclear. So you're kind of bringing it back. I have some examples here too, and again, I'll share the slides that you can take, but primarily you're being open, you're using those I statements, and you're being very clear on what it is that the person might have misunderstood, and then very clear on what your intent was for the conversation. So I like this one here. I don't want you to think I'm saying that I can't count on you. I find you to be quite reliable. I do, however, have concerns over what happened with yesterday's deadline. It's not about the person, it's about one specific situation. Now, if you are in a situation where you do have different purposes, you can create a mutual purpose. And there's an acronym for this called CRIB, which is you're going to commit to seek a mutual purpose. And that might sound like, I know it appears to me we're not seeing eye to eye on this. Let's find a mutual launching ground. Let's find something that we can agree on that is important to both of us in this situation. And then from there, you're going to acknowledge what the purpose is behind the strategy. You can say, this is going to help us to move forward from this. And then we can work on this project together. We can move forward on, if you're going on, an off-road trip, on this trip, whatever it is, but you are stating why you're doing it. And sometimes you might have to invent it if you can't think of one. Typically by step 2, you've recognized, but it might take some brainstorming where this is where you bring the other person into the conversation of, what do you think we have in common? What could we look at for something that's an agreement as a launching or a starting point? And then you're brainstorming on new strategies. Now, this feels kind of awkward when you practice it, but the more that you do this, the easier it becomes in terms of doing it. And then in being clear and stating your path. So you're speaking persuasively, not abrasively. And I like this acronym. So this is one of my favorite ones here, is share your facts. This is very similar to, what I talked about earlier, kind of wrapping it up in terms of be clear on what it is that you want to talk about. Make sure that you tell your story. You might let somebody know, I like to share my perspective with you. I'm going to talk for 2 minutes. And then I want to hear your side of the story. And this is where you're asking for others' paths. And then this is the hardest part, where we have to be quiet and accept the other person's perspective and their side of the story. And then after that, thank the other party. Let them know, my perspective was different. You might have a different perspective. Why do you think that we have different opposing views? What do you think is the problem here? Maybe if we worked with somebody else, maybe if we brought in more people, we can move forward on working this. And then that takes you to the end of the crucial conversation, where you turn it into action and results. One of the things that happens a lot of times is people walk away and it might have been a good conversation, but you don't close it up or close the loop, which is deciding how you'll decide. It might be, hey, this is very uncomfortable. I know we had a very important and critical conversation here. let's connect tomorrow, let's connect in a week and make sure that, you know, we're aligned on the same path to move forward. Or you might agree then and there on making a decision. And this might depend on what your role is. If you're someone that can make the decisions, if you need to bring other people in to consult on making the decision, maybe taking something back to the chapter or the board and voting on it. This is going to depend uniquely on the situations. If it's a conversation with two people, then you can, you know, both agree then and there that you've reached a compromise and you'll move forward. And if you want to document, some people like to send an email or a text message. Again, we use this for business, but make sure that you follow up. If you've committed to something or the other person, even if it's you're getting together or you're going to talk on the phone just to make sure that you can move forward. When are you doing that? Who's going to do it? Who's going to call the person the next time that you're connecting? Just that everybody is clear on what is happening. Most miscommunications happen because the communication actually did not take place, and you might have two people who walk away from the same conversation with two different ideas of what's happening next. So that is my, I know I wanted to leave time for questions. I feel like I did that in a speed round, but again, it's a 2-day training and Denise was clear on the timing. Any questions?
That was really good information, Mercedes.
Thank you, Shirley.
So who is the author of that book?
It is literally called Crucial Conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, they have it on Amazon. They have it at the libraries. There's 2 editions, but both are the same. There is one that's more focused on business and one that you can like apply at your everyday life.
That's awesome. Lots of good ideas. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
What is the biggest challenge that you have in doing these dialogues?
I think it's making sure, to be honest, that you check your ego at the door, and that even if you think you're 100% right, so does the other person, and recognizing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good question. Well, I think I wrapped it up. If there's any other questions or anyone wants to send an email, you can send it through the Monticello chapter. I'm always happy to talk about that too as well. Well, Janice, I think, does that wrap it up?
I think so. Thank you so
All right.
much, ladies, for coming, and you know, we'll try and get these. Are you willing to share this so that we could put it on our website?
The recording or the deck?
The I don't know, Tanya, would you just do the recording? Is that what you would put on the website?
I'll put the recording actually goes on YouTube, but if you have the document that you were using or the PowerPoint, I can put that on the website.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for taking the time to attend tonight. Have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you.